He didn't say, "I love you," in loud, poetic sentences. He didn't make grand speeches or write dramatic confessions. But in the way he placed himself between you and traffic, the way he noticed your silence before you spoke, the way he handed you his jacket without asking, it became clear. His love wasn't loud. It was protective, gentle, deeply quiet, yet deeply felt. Some men don't show love with fireworks. They show it in the stillness, in the shadows of moments we often overlook. Their affection is tucked into gestures so subtle, you almost miss them, until one day, you realize how deeply you've been seen, cared for, and protected without a single word needing to be spoken. This is the kind of man who pays attention, not just to what you say, but to what you don't. He studies the way your eyes move when you're uncomfortable, how you carry stress in your shoulders, the tiny things that drain you or make you glow. And he uses that knowledge not to control, but to support. Quietly, steadily, unshakably. He's not performing love for the world. He's not asking for validation. He's simply present. And his presence speaks louder than any declaration. You see it in how he slows his pace to walk beside you. How he notices when someone's energy around you feels off. How he places your safety above his comfort, even when you don't notice it until much later. We often think love is loud, flashy, or obvious. But sometimes it's found in the man who waits in his car until you're safely inside. The one who remembers the things that make your anxiety worse and quietly removes them from your path. The one who hears your silence and treats it like a conversation. This is for the quiet protectors. The ones who love with action instead of volume. The ones whose hearts speak in the small, consistent choices that slowly build a sense of safety around you. And if you're wondering whether a man truly cares, don't just listen to what he says. Watch what he does when you're tired, vulnerable, or unguarded. Because some of the most powerful kinds of love don't come with a declaration. They come wrapped in subtle, thoughtful actions that whisper, "I've got you," even when you don't know you need me. In this piece, we'll explore 15 small, silent ways a man protects the woman he deeply cares for, without ever needing to say the words. 1. He walks on the side of the road closest to traffic. He doesn't announce it. He doesn't make it a grand gesture. But every time you're walking side by side, his body instinctively shifts toward the edge of the road, placing himself between you and the traffic. It might seem like a small thing, almost unnoticeable if you're not paying attention. But it's one of those quiet, protective acts that speaks louder than words ever could. It's not just about the cars. It's about the way he thinks of you, subconsciously, constantly. It's the way his presence wraps around yours without smothering you. He positions himself not to dominate, but to shield. He's not trying to impress you. He's not looking for a thank you. He's just doing what someone who truly cares would naturally do, keeping danger a step further from you and a step closer to himself. This little habit reveals something deeper. He sees your safety as his silent responsibility. He may not say, "I'm here to protect you," but his steps say it every time. It's a form of unspoken affection, born not from obligation, but from emotion. And often, love reveals itself most honestly in the unnoticed spaces, in sidewalk choices, in quiet glances, in the kind of care that doesn't ask to be recognized. You may never even comment on it. Maybe you just smile and keep walking, letting him take that outer side without protest. But somewhere deep down, something warms inside you, because you realize that someone who pays attention to such tiny things is someone who'd stand between you and any storm without hesitation. 2. He checks and makes sure you got home safe. It's late. Maybe you were out with friends or just finished a long day apart. There's no grand romantic message, no dramatic declaration, just a quiet little buzz on your phone. Did you get home safe? And suddenly, your heart softens in ways you didn't expect. That message isn't about control. It's not about keeping tabs. It's about something much more meaningful. His need to know that you're okay, that the world didn't hurt you while you were out of his sight. It's the kind of check-in that comes from a place of real concern, the kind that doesn't want anything in return except the peace of knowing you're safe under your own roof. He doesn't need to be there physically to protect you. His care stretches beyond distance, beyond silence. Even if it's midnight, even if you forgot to message first, he waits. And if he doesn't hear from you, he might not sleep easy. Because to him, your well-being matters, not just when you're together, but even when you're apart and out of reach. In that single sentence, there's so much love wrapped up. It says, "You matter to me." It says, "I'm still thinking about you even now." And it says, most importantly, "I won't rest easy until I know you're okay." He may not say, "I miss you," or "I'm worried" in those exact words, but the message says it all. And over time, you realize that these little texts aren't little at all. They're quiet proof that someone out there is holding space for you, waiting for you, and putting your safety before his own peace of mind. 3. He notices when you're uncomfortable and quietly shifts the situation. He doesn't ask, "Are you okay?" in a room full of people. He doesn't put a spotlight on your unease. Instead, he watches closely the way your smile falters, how your fingers fidget, the way your eyes scan for an exit. And before you even find the words to explain your discomfort, he's already doing something about it. Maybe he gently changes the topic in a conversation that's getting too personal. Maybe he stands a little closer when someone's invading your space. Maybe he makes up a reason for you both to leave early, just so you don't have to. Whatever it is, he doesn't need you to spell it out. He reads you, not just the parts you say, but the ones you try to hide. There's something rare about someone who tunes in that deeply. Someone who doesn't brush off your body language as just overthinking or ignore your shifting energy. He notices. And more than that, he acts calmly without drawing attention, like it's the most natural thing in the world. It's not about being your hero or making you owe him anything. It's about quietly making the world a little softer when it starts to feel sharp around the edges. He doesn't push. He doesn't fix. He just shifts subtly, respectfully, so you feel like you can breathe again. And maybe later, when you're alone, you'll realize what he did. That he saw you when no one else did. That he made space for your comfort without ever making it a performance. And in that moment, you'll feel something rare, safe, understood, protected, without ever needing to ask. 4. He keeps an eye on your drink in public. You might not even notice it at first. You're talking, laughing, maybe turning your head for just a second, and his hand subtly moves your glass a little closer to him. Or maybe he gives a quick glance to the drink when someone walks by too closely. It's not obvious, and he doesn't bring attention to it. But he's watching quietly, carefully. He doesn't do it to be possessive. He does it because he knows the world isn't always kind, especially to women in crowded places. He's aware of the risks, spiked drinks, wandering hands, careless strangers, and he refuses to let you be vulnerable, even for a moment. To him, your safety isn't a request. It's instinct. There's something powerful about a man who understands the silent dangers you've been taught to look out for your whole life, and steps in without needing to be asked. He doesn't mock your caution or say, "You're being paranoid." He simply acts because he knows it matters. Maybe you step away to the restroom, and when you return, he hasn't touched his drink, but yours is right where you left it, untouched, guarded. He won't make a big deal out of it. He won't even mention it. But his actions say everything. "I've got you. You're not alone in this." It's a small act in the eyes of many. But to you, it feels like a quiet kind of love. The kind that watches over you when your guard is down. The kind that sees you, protects you, and honors your safety. Not with drama, but with unwavering presence. 5. He slows his pace so you don't have to rush. He doesn't say, "You're walking too slow." He doesn't roll his eyes or rush ahead while you catch up. Instead, he simply matches your rhythm, quietly, without comment, without making you feel like a burden. His footsteps naturally fall in sync with yours, not because he has to, but because he wants to walk beside you, not ahead of you. It's such a simple thing, yet holds such deep meaning. He notices the pace you're comfortable with, whether you're in heels, carrying something, or just feeling tired, and without making it a moment, he adjusts himself. It's not about arriving faster. It's about being with you at your speed. He's telling you something silently. "I'm not in a hurry to leave you behind." In a world that constantly rushes forward, he chooses to slow down just so you don't feel like you're chasing him. And in that decision, he shows patience, presence, and respect. It's these little things that reveal the most. He may not always say the right words. He may not even notice what he's doing, but his heart shows itself in the way he moves through the world with you. Side by side, step by step. Over time, you realize it's not just about walking. It's about how he carries the relationship too. Gently, with awareness, with enough grace to say without words, we'll go as far as we need to, but only together. 6. He remembers what triggers your anxiety and avoids it for you. He listens, even when you think he's just quietly sitting there. You might have mentioned something once, how crowded elevators make you uneasy, how loud arguments drain you, how being put on the spot in public makes your chest tighten. You didn't expect him to memorize it. You were just sharing, but he did, and he never forgot. So later, when you're out together, you notice how he gently steers you toward the stairs instead of the elevator, or how he shields you from chaotic conversations, or how he answers the waiter first when the attention turns to your table, just to give you a moment to breathe. He doesn't say, "I'm doing this because you get anxious." He doesn't need to. His actions speak for themselves. He's not avoiding things out of pity. He's protecting your peace, silently, intentionally. He understands that anxiety isn't always loud, that sometimes your smile hides your storms. And instead of forcing you to confront what you're not ready for, he becomes your buffer, your calm in the chaos. And what's beautiful is that he never makes you feel weak for needing that space. He never uses it against you. He simply creates a softer world around you, one choice at a time. Not because he has to, but because caring for you includes caring about the battles you fight inside. That kind of awareness isn't taught. It comes from deep emotional presence, from the kind of love that watches closely, feels deeply, and chooses comfort over convenience. You don't have to explain yourself twice. You don't even have to say a word. He just knows. And in those quiet decisions, he proves something powerful. He sees you fully and loves you gently. 7. He subtly shields you in a crowded room. He doesn't push or shove. He doesn't make a show of dominance. But in a packed room full of strangers and noise, his body naturally shifts toward you. Not to trap you, but to shield you. It's subtle. Maybe he stands just a little closer, placing himself between you and the crowd. Maybe his hand finds yours or hovers near your back. Not possessively, but protectively, like a quiet anchor reminding you that you're not alone in the chaos. He senses when the energy shifts, when someone gets too close, when a space starts to feel tight, loud, overwhelming. And without asking, without making you feel exposed, he becomes your barrier, the one who gently absorbs the noise so you can breathe. It's not about territory. It's about security. He knows your comfort comes first, not because you're fragile, but because you deserve to feel safe. His presence becomes a wall between you and everything you'd rather not deal with. You don't need to lean on him, but he's there if you do. And that knowing, that quiet certainty is its own kind of calm. He may never bring it up. He won't say, "I kept that guy from bumping into you," or "I stood closer because I saw your discomfort." But you'll feel it. In the way you stop scanning the room for an exit. In the way your heartbeat slows. In the way being near him feels less like standing in a crowd and more like standing in your own safe circle. And maybe that's the beauty of it. He doesn't try to take you out of the storm. He just becomes the umbrella without ever needing to open it with words. 8. He offers his jacket when you're cold before you even ask. You don't have to shiver, speak up, or pretend you're fine. He notices. Long before you admit you're cold, he's already reaching for his jacket. No hesitation, no drama, just a soft motion, a quiet offer, as if it's the most natural thing in the world to give you warmth without being asked. It's not about the jacket. It's about the awareness. It's about the way he reads your body language, the way you tuck your hands under your arms, the way your shoulders tighten just slightly. He doesn't need confirmation. He just knows. And more than that, he wants you to be comfortable, even if it means he has to go without. It's a gesture that carries far more weight than it seems. It says, "I'm paying attention." It says, "I'll take the cold so you don't have to." And most of all, It says, you don't have to ask for care here. It's already waiting. There's something deeply reassuring in that kind of quiet giving. It's not flashy. It's not performative. He doesn't do it to be noticed or thanked. He does it because he cares, not with big words or promises, but with the small acts that actually matter. And maybe later, when you're wrapped in his jacket, breathing in a scent that feels familiar and safe, you'll smile without even meaning to. Because deep down, you'll know anyone can say, I've got you, but only someone who truly means it will offer you warmth before you even whisper that you're cold. 9. He watches your back when someone's acting off. It might be subtle, a slight narrowing of his eyes, the way his body shifts just a little closer to you, or how his expression tightens when someone nearby starts acting strange. He doesn't cause a scene. He doesn't create unnecessary tension. But the moment he senses that something or someone feels off, he tunes in fully. Maybe it's someone staring too long, standing too close, or speaking with a tone that makes your skin crawl. You might try to ignore it, hoping it passes. But he doesn't. He notices everything. Your discomfort, the change in your voice, the way you lean away slightly. And without a word, he positions himself between you and whatever feels wrong. A silent wall. A calm but clear message. This is her space. Respect it. He doesn't need to act aggressive. He doesn't need to make it about ego. His protectiveness isn't loud. It's thoughtful, strategic, present. He watches with alertness, not paranoia, and makes sure you never feel like you're facing discomfort alone. In that moment, even if you don't say anything, even if you pretend everything's fine, there's a strange sense of relief that washes over you. Because somewhere inside, you feel it. He's watching out for you. Not to control you. Not to impress you. But simply because he cares. And because he refuses to stand by while you feel unsafe, even for a second. It's the kind of protection you don't have to ask for. The kind that feels like safety wrapped in calm strength. You know that if things got worse, he'd speak up. Step in. But even before that, he's already there. Reading the room, reading you, and staying close. Just in case. 10. He handles the awkward conversations so you don't have to. He sees the tension rising, the awkward moment building, the uncomfortable question coming your way, the social pressure creeping in. You shift in your seat, eyes flicker for an exit, heart rate picks up just a bit. And before you even have to respond, he steps in. It might be with a casual laugh, a clever redirection, or a gentle change of topic. Maybe he answers for you, defuses the moment, or simply draws the attention away so the spotlight moves elsewhere. He doesn't do it loudly or make it obvious. He just reads the room, senses your discomfort, and shields you with words, softly, skillfully. It's not about being your spokesperson. It's about being your ally. He knows that not every question deserves an answer, that not every conversation is safe or fair, and that sometimes silence is survival. So he steps in, not to speak over you, but to stand beside you when a moment turns sharp. And he never makes you feel small for it. He never mocks you for being quiet or nervous or needing space. He just makes the space easier, more breathable. He becomes your social buffer in rooms that feel too loud, too nosy, too personal. Maybe later you'll thank him. Maybe you won't even have to. Because the way he responds, you'll know he wasn't trying to be a hero. He was just looking out for you in the most thoughtful way possible. And it stays with you. The memory of him navigating discomfort like a shield made of timing and kindness. The quiet reminder that even in awkward spaces, someone's got your back. Without needing credit. Without needing permission. Just out of care. Just out of love. 11. He pays attention to your silences and knows when something's wrong. You don't always say when something's wrong. Sometimes you stay quiet. Not because you want to hide, but because the words are heavy, tangled, or just too hard to explain. But somehow he knows. Not through loud cues or dramatic tears, but through the silence that slips between your sentences. He hears what you don't say. He notices when your laughter feels a little forced, when your responses grow shorter, when your eyes don't light up the way they usually do. Others may see nothing different, but he sees everything. He watches with quiet attention, gently scanning the spaces between your words, the weight in your sighs, the shift in your energy. He doesn't press. He doesn't demand that you open up before you're ready. But he stays close with a quiet kind of patience that feels like a safety net. Maybe he asks if you're okay once, but even if you say, "I'm fine," he doesn't believe it just because it was spoken. He trusts your energy more than your answers. Sometimes he won't say anything at all. He'll just be there, offering his presence like a warm blanket, a hand on your back, a longer than usual hug, a moment of eye contact that tells you you don't have to go through this alone. And when you're finally ready to speak, to unpack what's been building inside, you find he already understood the weight you were carrying. Because he never needed loud signals. He just needed you. And he was listening even in the silence. That's the kind of love that doesn't interrupt pain, but waits beside it. A love that doesn't chase answers, but offers safety until they arrive. And in that quiet awareness, he proves something rare. He sees the real you, even when you don't say a word. 12. He waits until you're inside before driving off. He doesn't just drop you off and speed away. Even after the goodbye, even after the hug or the wave, he stays, engine running, lights still on, eyes quietly following you until you reach your door. He waits, not because you asked him to, not because it's expected, but because leaving before you're safely inside just doesn't sit right with him. It's such a simple act, easily overlooked. But in that moment, he's thinking about everything that could go wrong. The darkness, the silence, the unpredictability of the night. And in his mind, the only way to truly let go is to know you've made it home, not just near it. He doesn't rush, doesn't honk, doesn't text home after pulling away. He sits there, still and present, giving you time, space, safety. Maybe you glance back and see his headlights still glowing. Maybe you don't. But he's there until you close the door behind you, locking it, safe in your space. Then, and only then, he pulls off. It's not about being overprotective. It's about quiet care, about respecting your world even when you're not in his arms. It's about letting you go with peace in his heart, knowing you're okay. And maybe he won't bring it up. Maybe he never mentions it, never waits for you to notice. But deep down you will. You'll remember how it felt to be watched over from a distance, to be held gently by someone's patience, to be valued without needing to earn it. Because someone who waits in silence, just to make sure you're safe, is someone who understands love without ever needing to say the word. 13. He defends you when you're not around. You won't hear about it from him. He won't come back bragging, telling you what he said or how he stood up for you. But behind closed doors, in rooms where your name comes up, in conversation, in gossip, in criticism, he becomes your quiet shield. If someone mocks you, he doesn't laugh along. If someone questions your worth, your choices, your voice, he pushes back, even when you're not there to see it. He speaks with calm, clear conviction, not to impress, not to win points, but because letting someone disrespect you, especially when you're not there to defend yourself, feels wrong in his soul. To him, your name is sacred. Your reputation, your dignity, your light. It's not something he lets others toy with. He carries your presence with him, even in your absence. He treats your honor as if it were his own. That's not just love, it's loyalty. And it runs deeper than public affection or sweet words. You might never know how often he defends you. How many quiet moments he's redirected a conversation, shut down a cheap joke, or corrected a twisted narrative. Because he's not doing it for credit. He's doing it because he knows your truth, and he refuses to let anyone reduce it. And if someday it slips out, if someone tells you what he did, what he said, how he stood up for you when it was inconvenient or unpopular, you'll feel something powerful stir inside you. The kind of safety that doesn't need to be loud to be real. The kind of protection that exists even in your absence. Because real love defends in silence. It guards your name in the rooms you'll never walk into. And it stands firm, even when no one's watching. 14. He carries the heavy stuff without making it a big deal. He doesn't make a show of it. He doesn't say, "Let me do it," in a dramatic way. He just quietly reaches for the heavier bag, the bulky box, or the load you were about to lift, and takes it from your hands as if it's second nature. No speeches, no expectation of praise, just action rooted in care. He sees weight differently. To him, It's not just about the object, it's about easing your burden, even in the smallest, most practical ways. Whether you're carrying groceries, moving furniture, or simply holding something awkward, he instinctively steps in. Not because he thinks you're incapable, but because he wants to make your life easier, even in the tiniest moments. He won't turn it into a favor you owe him later. He won't exaggerate the effort. In fact, he'll probably downplay it. Because the real gesture isn't in what he lifts, it's in how effortlessly and willingly he does it for you. It's in the way he notices what you need before you even ask. And over time, you come to realize it's not just about physical weight. It's a reflection of how he carries emotional weight too. Your worries, your stress, your silence. He doesn't run from heaviness. He leans in, offers his strength, and lets you exhale. Love doesn't always arrive wrapped in words or grand gestures. Sometimes, it walks beside you with your bags in hand, quietly saying, "You don't have to carry everything alone. Not while I'm here." 15. He silently notices what you need and takes care of it. He doesn't wait for you to ask. He doesn't need reminders, hints, or complaints. Somehow, he just knows when your shoulders are tense, when your energy is low, when your heart feels a little heavier than usual. He pays attention to the smallest shifts in your tone, your habits, your silence. And before you even realize what you need, he's already doing something about it. Maybe it's charging your phone when he sees the battery's low. Maybe it's bringing you water when you didn't even notice you were thirsty. Maybe it's finishing a task you were too tired to complete, or playing your favorite song when a mood in the room feels off. He doesn't ask for applause. He doesn't say, "Look what I did for you." He just does it. Quietly, thoughtfully, lovingly. It's the kind of care that exists in the background, gentle, steady, and constant. He's not trying to fix your life. He's not trying to be a hero. He just wants you to feel seen, supported, and lighter in the moments when life feels a bit too much. And the beauty of it is, these aren't huge, dramatic acts. They're small things, invisible to most, but deeply felt by you, because it tells you something that words never could. He's paying attention, not to impress, not to get anything in return, but simply because your comfort matters to him. Your ease, your peace, your smile, they matter. Love doesn't always come with a speech. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a clean blanket, a charged laptop, a perfectly timed cup of tea. And when it does, you realize this is what it feels like to be truly cared for, even in the quiet.